Oh, family, I'm Robert, and I'm a real alcoholic.
Hey, Robert.
I want to thank everyone for coming to the meeting tonight. This is the Atlanta Step Up Society Big Book Study. Change your thinking, change your life. Let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Last week we finished up step 11, talking about prayer and meditation. And basically what we're talking about is how to try to make an attempt to keep our life centered. You know, if there's too much chaos going on, how do we remove ourselves from the chaos and become grounded or centered? And then we talked about, or if it's not enough, you know, on the negative side, or you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling lonely, or things of that nature, what do you do to come up out of that and become centered? So basically, it's like a yin and a yang. But spirituality is how do you become centered in the midst of all this stuff. You know, I was reading a book today, and it was talking about data, the human consciousness, the thinking. Right, and it was saying that, the guy was saying that, and this is a science, this is like science, and in a scientific point of view, all the information that ever been put out by the human mind from the beginning to year 2003, all that information from before Christ and, you know, caveman, I guess, all the data that it took up to 2003, and they had like, you know, like we say, trillions, and then they had mexaplexos and all this kind of stuff. The highest that they can have was way up. It was so much information, and they had a math terminology for, or formula for it, all right? But the point is, it was so high, so much information had been put out from, if you would take year 2003 and go all the way back, and then from 2003 forward, the era that we live in now, every 48 hours, with the technology that we have, the instruments that we have, every 48 hours, there's enough information being put out by our brains that it took from 2003 back. Every 48 hours we duplicate that amount of energy. That amount of, you know what I'm trying to say? That amount of data. To me, and he was saying that you have to be centered somewhere. You got to have somewhere in your mind, in your being, to shut down. Kind of like be still and know that I'm God. It's just too much out there now. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I used to always say that I get my best thoughts in the shower. You know, ideals come to me in the shower in the morning. And I got kind of accustomed to it. I had got aware of it. So I go in the shower, turn the shower on, just let the water hit me, and all of a sudden, an ideal will come out. And I kind of thought I was unique, you know. I get my best thinking in the shower. So I'm reading the guy's book, and he said, you know, my best thinking come in the shower. But he was able to explain it. I just know I had my best thinking in the shower. I couldn't take it no farther. And he was saying because that was when his mind shut down. He really wasn't thinking about anything. It kind of quieted up when he squashed it, and that's where the thoughts evolved from. That makes sense? From the stillness of just running the water over you, not thinking about anything, doing that 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, how long it takes. That's when his thoughts come. So that's kind of like step 11. It's time to tell us, all right, quiet down. Let's do a little bit of prayer, and let's do some meditating. Let's quiet the insanity and get a connection with God. That makes sense? And I know for a fact And I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me that she used the tools. Every time I feel agitated, angry, worried, or in fear, for me, all I have to do is shut down, relax, and it seems to disappear. I don't run from it anymore. I'm not trying to stuff it anymore. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to hide it. Let's say if I feel jealous, I'm jealous. Jealousy. Instead of trying to push it back and trying to come up with new ideals to make it go away, just feel it. All right, I'm jealous. See, jealousy don't like to really want to feel jealousy. It want me to feel it. You know, fear is afraid of fear, but it want me to be scared. Just relax and let it be. It'll go away. That too shall pass. So these are the tools that the 12 step is giving us to make it all through the day. And that's why they say you pause. You can pause through the day, but don't pause through the day and then start back with Robert. There's no point in pausing. Keep on going. Pause for the day to turn it over and let it go so you can start the day over. That makes sense? And that's what it's all about in the 11th step. And it's no real, pinpoint rules now. It's just how you incorporate it in your life. All right. And now we're going to the 12th step, and it's called chapter 7, called Working with Others. And this is very, very important to learn how to do 12-step calls and what they're about and the procedure of doing it. And I did a few 12-step calls in my life. All right, and be honest with you, you might hear something a little different out the book than what you hear in the rooms. But that's okay. I followed the book. I followed the book. The book tells me what to do, I do it. If I want to modify it, fine. But I know where the information came from. I'm not leaning on my own understanding. So tonight we're going to talk about working with others. Last week, I had an experience last week with a guy. He came up to the office early in the morning. I wish he was here tonight. And he was like, I got an anger problem, blah, 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 and want to talk. Well, I'm unloading trucks and getting ready to. I don't have time to talk to you about your anger problem. People think that's offensive, but I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't have the time. I'm at work. I ain't never stepped on your work, on your job, talking about no anger. But the point is this. I said, come back to learn what to do. Because the book tells you exactly what to do. If you're a 12-stepper, it tells you on any situation that you're going through. If you want to get up out of that, work with another alcoholic. You work with another alcoholic. So whoever helping you probably get the best out of it. You have to work. If you got 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in this program and you ain't never sponsored nobody, you don't have a home group, you're not a member of a home group, you're not a secretary, you're not a GSR, you're not nothing, you homeless in 3 or 4 years, I can guarantee you, you're supposed to have an anger problem. You ain't working on nothing. Nothing. This program was designed to be in here 3 or 4 years. I don't know how to do it because I never did. I never not been in the program. When I came through the door at 3 months clean, I was in a book study. So, and working the program, I did the book study. I ain't never been without this. So I don't know how to do it. I don't know how it feels to have 5 years clean and never sponsor nobody. And then go into a meeting and share good, telling newcomers how to do this and how to do that and how this works and you ain't never sponsored nobody. I don't know how that feels. But I do know how it feels if you have sponsored somebody. If you have taken someone through the steps. If you have went out your way, drove your car way on the other side of town to do a 12-step call. I know how that feels. I know how it feels to work with other alcoholics. I don't know how it feels if you got 3 years clean and you have not done none of this. But my mind kind of tell me it's the opposite of happy, joyous, and free. Because I know what you get when you do it. The promises. So I'm pretty sure what kind of promise you gonna get. Y'all laughing if you don't do it. I don't know if you call it promises or curses, but I guarantee you ain't gonna feel like I feel when I do it. That makes sense? All right, that's enough for that. But the point is, you have to work with others. That's why we're here. And it's really not nothing that's new to us. We help each other get drunk. We help each other get high. Why we can't help each other? That's a problem. Helping somebody stay sober. I never ever got high or drunk by myself. Somebody was close by.
Yes, sir.
Somebody. Now, if I just had a little bit and I want, maybe boom boom. Then after that, I'm going to look for somebody. I might have been stingy, but as soon as that was over, I was broke. Oh, well, where Eric at? I got to go find somebody. So we helped each other. We helped each other. I done been stingy. But when it comes to the overall picture, we helped each other stay drunk. And we might as well help each other stay clean. Ain't no big deal. Alright, let's go to page chapter 7. And I'm going to do a real 12-step call tonight. And I already got permission for everybody who talk about anonymity. I already got permission. We have a female in our group that I did a 12-step call from. Textbook 12-step call. 12-step call is not when you got a clinic or you got a treatment plan and somebody walked through the door. That's not a 12-step call. That's just a beautiful human being trying to get some help. And then we pick them up and show them the love and do what we're supposed to do. But I'm going to show you a textbook 12-step call. All right, let's start.
Chapter 7, Working with Others. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill.
All right. Chapter 7, Working with Others. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. So it says that from our experience, it shows us that nothing will so much ensure immunity. That means defense, freedom, being able to resist a disease. So what they're saying is, nothing will so much ensure, let's say, freedom from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. If you want to stay clean and sober, work with someone else. What we say, in order to keep it, we must give it away. All right? Giving and receiving is the same. It's not two separate things. The instant you give, instantly you receive. It's not, I'm going to give today and something's going to come tomorrow. It comes instantly. Instantly. Now the problem, you think it comes tomorrow because you're looking for something. Stop looking, it's instantly there. That makes sense? It says that it works when other activities fail. Let's say, for me, I tried all kind of other activities to stay clean and sober. It all failed. But once I got into the program and I started doing this stuff and I started working with others, my ego alone in the beginning, I wasn't all that spiritual.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have some sponsee and be walking down Boulevard High and they say, oh, look at Rob. My ego wasn't going to let me get high. They were telling me, man, you done went a little bit too far now.
Don't relapse. That was me. I had some shame and guilt going on. I didn't want to add on to it. You know, I can't do that one. You know, I see other guys, they be walking and I say, man, I can't do that. My sponsee. You know, I had too much pride. I didn't want to be on the relapse list. And that's what I was thinking. It kept me clean. It kept me clean. Alright. It says that this is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. Let me read it. The 12th step says, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Let's break that down. Having had a spiritual awakening, that means you're no longer spiritually asleep. By this time you know that that the Spirit of God is in you. You're no longer looking out in no clouds, you know what I'm trying to say, looking for a heaven that's got what they taught me. I don't know about nobody else. I ain't never really read it either. They paved with gold and streets of gold and you know what I'm trying to say, this and that. But as I start growing, I start thinking about gold. Because I done bought some gold since I've been in NA. And they do tarnish. Now, I don't know about polishing no gold for eternity. Right. You know what I'm saying? It didn't kind of make sense. But the program taught me that if I look deep down inside of me, I'll find the Spirit of God. So that's the spiritual awakening that I have. At that point, I don't have to look for another man to create my destiny because my destiny is in me. Everything that's in me is going to be pushed out is my manifestation of myself. It's not y'all. You guys are me. I brought you in here and you brought me to you. That's God. That's God. We can take this group all over the world if we all thought like that. We can do whatever we want to. It's in us. The creation, the power to create is in me. Change my thinking, change my life. The problem is that most of us did not believe in the things that we couldn't see. Remember I told you about the iceberg? The 90% of the invisible stuff we couldn't see. That's the real stuff. That's the stuff that God created everything that ever came from. A good example would be, let's say I wanted to lose 20 pounds. And I'm using the conscious part of my mind, which is only the 10% of the iceberg that's sticking on top of the ice. I'm using that, but underneath, in my subconscious mind, the 90% of it, the top percent saying, lose weight, eat right, do this and do that. But my subconscious mind saying, boy, you know you like some cake. you know, you love it. You know, that's where the real behavior habits sit. See, you got to change your subconscious mind in order to change the conscious mind. So I'll be wanting to lose weight, but underneath, you know you love cake in the invisible world. So we have to figure out a way to change the subconscious thoughts, and then it'll manifest. That makes sense? You know? So that's a spiritual way. But there's a million of them. Billions. It's indefinite. That's just something I'm throwing out. But this is the most important thing. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. What that's telling me is that you got your spiritual awakening from the other 11 steps above. Yeah. So having had a spiritual awakening as a result of everything above it. 1 through 11. We try to carry this message to alcoholics. So once we take this message right here and we carry it to alcoholics. In my working with others, I had to find out that you can't be prejudiced with carrying the message either. You know?
I used to have little people that I pick and choose. You know what I'm trying to say? If you come up to me and ask me to be your sponsor and you were really serious and I looked at you, I might say nope. You know, I ain't doing that one. He crazy. You know, but my sponsor told me, he said, really take a look at the 12 steps. It said carry the message to alcoholic. It didn't ask you to pick and choose. That got that. And to practice these principles in all our affairs. All the tools that come with all the 11 steps, they want us to put it in practice in all our affairs. Then they even broke affairs down in the book. We have affairs at home, at work, and in our affairs. 3 different places you need to take you from. Don't come at your AA and preach, and then go outside, drive home, and whoop your white butt. Right. Or your significant other. You got to practice the principle here, there, and at work. Alright? So that's the 12 steps. Carry this message to alcoholics. Now, as I got more and more involved into carrying the message, I did a lot of book studies. Then I did a lot of book studies in treatment centers. They used to pay me. I used to go to St. Jude, do the book study, all the staff, and get paid. I did at Jefferson Place. I did a lot of different treatment places. But, you know, I thought I was a big shot then. I'm teaching counselors. You know? Then, treatment centers. But now my vision, I want to be, or I am, the best, I can't say best, but the most knowledgeable, most clearest 12-step teacher on the planet. All right. That's my vision. No matter where we go, I see myself. Why not? You know, it's kind of like if you want to change your subconscious mind, you got to change your thinking to change your mind. That's right. You know, my mind, all our minds work. This is a beautiful thing. All our minds work like Google. You know how you go to Google, you search, you put in a question, right? Google give you an answer. Put in a question, you get an answer. The problem with our mind, our brain is set up just like Google. It is no different, but we never ask questions. We just beg our mind for stuff. You know what I'm saying? It works just like Google. Ask myself, why am I teaching it all over, the books that are all over the world? Why am I flying on airplane, going to do a meeting at the World Convention in Italy? Why am I, you know what I'm trying to say? Why am I getting all the spirituality I need to teach in any language? Why am I having the best thrift store in the city? Why am I teaching to the best group of people in the city that go out and they take the message to everybody else? Why am I? If you ask your questions, ask your mind the questions that you like to have in your life that's changing the subconscious, it has to Google it and give you an answer.
All right.
It has to. You can't, if you say, I sure like to have this, I sure like to have that. Oh, let me give you some more you can like to have. I can add some more. You like to have a hat? Would you like to have some new shoes? It ain't going to do nothing but give you more about what you asking for. It's giving you more about what you asking for. If you like to have it, I can give you what you like to have for infinity. But I ain't gonna tell you gonna get it. But you'll sure like to have it. That's not how the thing works, y'all. Am I right or wrong? That's right. It works by affirmations. But it say ask, receive, but you gotta believe. You got to believe you already have it in order for it to work. And to do that, you got to change the subconscious mind. Kind of like, well, we're talking about planting a seed. Seed can put right on this table, and the dirt down on the floor, the dirt. Seed can sit there forever, don't do nothing. If you put it in the proper soil, bam, it fertilizes. You got to put the proper type seed in the subconscious mind, bam. So that's what I'm doing, putting the right seeds and the right questions in the mind. And when I get on that airplane, me and a few of y'all, and we're going to the World Convention. No, I tell you what, why am I sitting on this cruise ship?
Yes, sir.
Getting paid. People do this every day now.
Yeah, yeah.
They do it every day, so why not me? Why not sitting on this big, beautiful cruise ship, doing a 2-hour class for 4 days, all paid by the World Convention? They do this, right? All paid. Free meals, free tours, free this. All I got to do is do step 11. Why not? And get a whole vacation out of it. People do this every day. Why not me? Erica, no, her uncle do this. He's a why not of anything. He's a why not. I'll ask Texas. Go to Texas and ask him.
Why not?
Why not? But if you ask the question, why not, the brain, the subconscious has to do it because that's the right way to do it. That makes sense? It works just like Google. Carry this message to alcoholics. So my point and my vision is to carry the message to alcoholics all over the world. And it's already happened. It's happening now. This YouTube is all over the world. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill. Bam! Took it right back to step 1. When you're working with others, you got to go back to the problem. The mental obsession and the phenomenal craving. Every time you say they're very ill, you have to go back and you got to know the disease concept or the illness concept. You got to know this. You ain't going to be able to work with nobody if you don't know the disease concept. If you don't know about the mental obsession and the phenomenal craving, because that's where you got to begin with any newcomer. Step 1. Not drinking coffee. Step 1. You got to teach them step 1. Alright, keep going.
Life will take on new meaning to watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. You know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers with each other is the bright spot of our lives.
Life will take on new meaning. To watch, this is like a 12-stepper. You know what I'm trying to say? Like somebody who's really sponsoring somebody, you'll see this. If you're not sponsoring someone, remember I was talking about that earlier? It didn't connect, but now it's connected. If you got 3-4 years and you're not working with nobody, you ain't gonna see this. See, I didn't have the connection then, but I just got it now. So it said that life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover. To see them help others. See, you got to be able to sponsor people and watch your sponsees sponsor people. To watch them recover. That's when you know it worked. You know, and then it says that see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. I was talking to a friend earlier. She was saying that she came from another state, moved to here 5 years ago, and got connected with the people up here, and this is what happened. The same thing. This paragraph became her life. We know you will not want to miss it. That means you got to do the work not to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. You know, a lot of time, I guess my wife is not in recovery. All right. She don't have the disease of addiction either. All right. But sometimes it's a little tension because she know how well I can do this. And then some people come around, like come in our store that do treatment work and psychological work, and she be like, they getting paid for it, you doing it for free. You know, that kind of friction, right? And I try to tell her that even in my infantry, I always had a bright spot, or in my heart, a place where I always wanted to be at the bottom helping people. I always had that. You know, if you got 5 years clean or 3 years clean, I ain't got too much I really want to tell you, because by then you should have done something. But a newcomer, you know, I love it, man. I love to watch them come in all messed up, you know. And, you know, I was telling a guy that worked with us, a new guy came in, and he was like, you done got cocky, you know. Hey, I got it going on, da, 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 da. I said, you see that guy there? That was you. Yes, last year. The same one you talking about was you. That's how we thought about you. You know? So in order to, you'll see that if you deal with newcomers. And they really need that lifeline. And then even in my military career, I was an infantryman. I was infantry. So being in the trenches, in the pits, that's what I do. And I do it good. And I enjoy it. That's the position, somebody got to do it. You know? Somebody got to do it. I don't want to sit down there, and if somebody sit down, if I got a job, I'm just being frank, and I got an office, and there's a couch, and somebody come lay on the couch, when they start snoring, I'm going to start snoring. So they ain't telling me what I want to hear, and I'm not listening to what they saying. So it probably won't work for me. But a newcomer come in my office and he want to know what he need to do to stay clean and sober, you got me. That's just where I am. All right, let's do it.
Perhaps you are not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, or hospitals. They will be too glad to assist you. Don't start out as an evangelist or reformer. Unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. You will be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent, and you can learn much from them if you wish. But it happens that because of our own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. So cooperate, never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim.
All right, that takes some practice too. Perhaps you're not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. And that's the key thing, who really want it. Alright? I really wanted to recover when I came in here. I really did. But I also wanted to take shortcuts too. You know what I'm trying to say? I wanted to stay clean and sober. I really did. I wanted to not be the black sheep in the family. I wanted to keep my money, you know, stuff like that. But I didn't think I wanted to do no 12 steps. That wasn't in the picture, you know. And most people, when you got a lot of fear in you of the unknown, I don't know if you can really want to recover, because like I told y'all before, there's always two wants. Now I had jumped past the second want. It's kind of like, let's say for instance, you're using whatever, crack, alcohol, whatever, and you got a little job. Most people can identify with this. And you went out on the bench Friday night, went all the way, stayed up all night, Saturday night, then Sunday, you sitting on a park bench or sitting somewhere looking stupid, you're in remorse. You're gonna hit rock bottom. You done did this too many times. You tell yourself it's over. It is over, over, over. I really wanna stop. That's the first want. That's not the one that's good enough.
Okay.
I really, really wanna stop. And you really mean it. With all that attention, 100% mean it. Then you remember, you got a check in the hole. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody owe you something.
All right.
You jump up out of that want and go back to using. So that first want don't work. It's the second want. It's the one where I'm sitting there in remorse. I really want to quit. That's the first want. The mind, you know, remember I told you that subconscious? All right, it don't come down there. It know you don't want to quit. You've been doing it for 30 years. What makes you think you want to quit? Because it ain't trained yet to know that you really want to quit. That's like underwater, you know, the 90%. So, bam, the thoughts come up. You got to check in the hole. Somebody owe you $50. You can go do a job, paint. You can go fix this car. This person still need that. And you said, nope. I really mean it this time. I really want to recover. That's that second one. That's that one that got the power.
Right.
That's that one that makes the real decision. That's the one that gets you in the room. That makes sense? It ain't that first one. That first one will be pushed out the side, you know what I'm saying? It's that second one. When you battle through that, because as soon as you want to quit, it's always going to be resistance. It's always going to be the other forces, fields, that's going to come in to attack you, not to quit. And most times we yield and go with that. So you really, really want to recover. Alright? And you only can do that with yourself. You can't really tell or diagnose no one else. You don't know if they really got the second one or the first one.
Okay.
Alright? You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, or hospitals. You go out and find somebody to sponsor if you don't know nobody. You can't sit around and say, look, I have all this information. You know what I'm trying to say? I have all these 12-step experience and I don't know nobody. Go out and find somebody. There's plenty of places you can go and find somebody. You can expand it. You don't have to go that far either. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to go but a block. You're going to find somebody who really want it. Alright? They will be, and these people will be, say they will be only too glad to assist you. Don't start out as an evangelist or reformer. I did both. I did both. When I start reading this stuff and learning this stuff, and that's kind of normal though. Yeah. You really want to share it with people, especially when you start studying in a book and you go to meeting and people be sharing and they be wrong. You're like, whoa, the ego come up. Whoa, what is he talking about? If he did read page 82, he would know better than that. That be in you. Yeah. And I told you, I carried the bazooka. Remember I told you about this? I blow them up in the meeting. They didn't want me to come to no meeting. I said, oh, here come that big book thumper. Get him out of here. You know? Because I thought, you know, I didn't know how to do it with love. You know what I'm trying to say? I didn't know how to correct with love. I was going along with what they did in the fellowship. Blow you away. That's, I don't know, they don't do that as bad as they used to. Used to, it was horrible. Yeah, man, you be scared. Go in there, you want to share, Antonio, you really want to share? You got something burning? You been holding it for a week to share? And then they get in there, you be like, and I ain't raising my hand up in here. They intimidate you. It's so bad, they intimidate you. That's why them little meetings, man, you get in a little meeting, you better enjoy it. People don't like little meetings, but I tell you, that's how I learned to share. Them big one, boy. You go to the paycheck if you want to. You gonna share in that one. You know, I go to something so big now, I don't say nothing. And I can talk, but I don't say nothing. Even when you right, they blow you down. You can be right and they blow you down. Alright. And don't be no reformer. Once I start learning, I start want to beat people inside the head with the book. Bam! You need to get the book in you. Bam! They would say like, it was so bad with me. My kids could tell you it was bad. At home they tell you. People walk up me and say, hey, how you doing? I said, what step you on? I wouldn't even say good morning. You know? So, but that I think that comes with understanding something that's changing your life. You know? Everybody, even when you join the church, you know, and you start learning the Bible, you do that. Scripture come out your mouth. Every time you open your mouth, there's a scripture. You know? Alright, unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. Some people just not ready for that. They just been beat down with it, and they're prejudiced about it. You know what I'm saying? Have bad experiences. You know, family pushed them religious on them. You know what I'm saying? Religion and all kind of stuff. I mean, that list can go on and on, but just be gentle and do it with love. Learn how to 12-step with love. Alright? You will be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent, and you can learn much from them if you wish. Let me tell y'all something. I have, at first, I wasn't into ministers, you know what I'm trying to say, because it's not a religion, and I wasn't into doctors. It was just 12 steps. But as I started growing and getting more and more involved, the ministers started making a lot of sense. Because my spirituality was growing. When I was spiritually weak, that didn't make sense. And then I have doctors in my family. And when I start pinpointing on the illness, the disease of addiction or the illness of addiction, and I start asking them questions, because I start studying, and I start studying about how our cells were synthesized. Once we put alcohol in our body, how our cell structure, the trillions of cells would act, and the endorphins, you know, and all this stuff that's chemically going on in the mind and the brain, and how it affects our brain and everything. And I started talking to medical people, and then I would take them and show them in the book what AA was talking about, and they would say, he's right though, Dr. Silkman is right. They would agree with it.
Yeah.
But it was me, or, you know, me, I ain't gonna say y'all, who disagreed with them at first, the doctors. They don't know what they're talking about. But when you put it in medical terms, they do know what they're talking about. And they say that Dr. Silver is 100% right. That's exactly what happened to people who have this disease or this illness. About the phenomenon of the mind, you know, and the mental obsession and the phenomenon of craving. They said that's true. So, it says that they are competent and you can learn much if you wish. It says right here, but it happens that because of your own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. So cooperate, never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim. Let me say one thing before we go to the next one. Our own drinking experience, we can help other alcoholics. That is so true. I have family members now with all the clean time I have, and they've been around me the whole time. I have a nephew who passed from the disease of addiction or the illness of addiction. And my family members been around me, hear me, and watch the work that I do. They will still to this day say, I still don't understand that thing. Why they just don't stop when they, you know, why they just don't stop? To this day, they don't understand it. I do what my hand was trying to tell them. But y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, and we know what we talking about. But try to explain that to somebody who don't have the disease, almost impossible. They'll say, yeah, but in the back of their mind, they're saying, nah, I don't understand. Now, you can stop when you get ready. Because they can and we can't. And their experience is they can, our experience is that we can't. Two different experiences. They're like me having a baby. Two different experiences. It ain't gonna happen. Alright, let's go. Next page.
When you discover a prospect for Alcoholics Anonymous, find out all you can about him. If he does not want to stop drinking, don't waste time trying to persuade him. You may spoil a later opportunity. This advice is given for his family also. They should be patient, realizing they are dealing with a sick person.
Alright, let me change it up a little bit. We have a lady in our program that I did a 12-step with. And a 12-step call. And it's textbook. It's textbook. So I got permission to do it. you know, I probably want to use her name that y'all know who it is. It's Erica. But anyway, I ain't gonna use her name. Alright? But here's the deal. When you discover a new prospect, a prospect is a likely member. You know what I'm trying to say? They're not in the fellowship yet. They're just, you know, a potential member. Alright? Of Alcoholics Anonymous, for Alcoholics Anonymous, find out all you can about him or her. If, they say he, but I gotta do it. If he does not want to stop drinking, don't waste time trying to persuade him. You may spoil a later opportunity. This advice is given for his family also. They should be patient, realizing they are dealing with a sick person. Erica and her mother and I are in the same Rotary group, Rotarians. And I was in charge of St. Jude's was having their annual celebration. And they have a huge dinner and they sell out tables, and then like a real like professional or celebrity will come to the dinner and tell their story. And it'd be all on the news and everything. It'd be like get a big hall, big place, right? Fabulous food. It's a suit and tie event, news and everything. So I was in the Rotary Club. I was responsible for getting our tables full, right, and getting the people to buy the tables and the stuff. And so, we didn't have to pay because the Rotary Club paid for it. You know, I just had to get the people. So I had to get up and tell my story. And I told my story. And Erica's mother came up to me after it, and she said, my daughter. She said, first of all, I didn't know you was that. You know what I'm trying to say? And I didn't know anything about you. But my daughter needs help. And I told Erica's mother, she told me about it, I said, I can help her. But I knew I could. If she were willing, I knew I could. So I told her. And then me and her exchanged numbers and email, and we went to work. Me and the mom. She didn't know nothing about this. This probably gonna be new to her, unless your mama told you. I didn't tell you. She didn't know. So we went to work. I went right to the book. You know. And first thing I did was it says right here, it says they should be patient, realizing they are dealing with a sick person. When I saw the word sick person, but I already knew what to do. I got her mother and I explained the disease concept to the mom. Erica didn't know nothing about it. I explained it to her mother what was wrong with her daughter. So the mother had the information, and we just emailing back and forth. I sent her literature, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, and we were going back and forth. All right, now we setting her up though. You know? Do the next one.
If there's any indication that he wants to stop, have a good talk with that person most interested in him, usually his wife. Get an idea of his behavior, his problems, his background, the seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. You need this information to put yourself in his place, to see how you would like him to approach you if the tables were turned.
Alright. So what we did was, first thing we did, we kind of knew that St. Jude's was going to have this thing. And what we said was, okay, let's get Erica a seat at the same table with me at the St. Jude's thing. Alright? So we did that. I secured her seat, put her on the list, got her locked in. Alright? Then I started talking to the mother some more. I found out that she was educated. It said, get all the information you can about her background. Alright? Ideal behavior, problems, his background, the seriousness of the condition, and his religious leanings, learnings or leanings. You need this information to put yourself in his place. See how you would like him to approach you if the tables were turned. I learned that she was educated. I learned she had a few boyfriends. I learned that she could get good jobs, right? And I knew she can get good jobs because her mama was the #1 staff agency person in this doggone city. I knew she can get a job. I'm gonna go apply for a job too. All right, so I knew she can get a good job. So we had all that information. All right. So I'm taking the information about her. So I'm teaching you how to do it though. So when the time came for me to talk to her, I could talk to her from what she already experienced. I could say, you know, I was educated. How you doing? What school you went to? I went to University of Maryland. I'm just playing a trick on her. I already knew to do this from what her mama said. I know about that. Where you worked at? I started talking about my professional job. I ain't gonna tell her I worked in McDonald's mopping floors, because that wasn't her thing. Talk about professional jobs and the ones that I had, you know. So I had, you know, because you got to win their confidence. All right. So I did that. All right. But not yet. All right. Do the next one.
Sometimes it is wise to wait till he goes on a binge. The family may object to this, but usually he is in dangerous physical condition. It is better to risk it. Don't deal with him when he is very drunk, unless he is ugly and the family needs your help. Wait for the end of the spree, or at least for a lucid interview. Then let his family or friend ask him if he wants to quit for good and if he will go to any extreme to do so. If he says yes, then his attention should be drawn to you as a person who has recovered. You should be described to him as one of a fellowship who is a part of their own recovery. Try to help others, or who will be glad to take to him if he cares to see you. Talk to him if he cares to see you.
Sometimes it is wise to wait till he goes on a binge. The family may object to this, but unless he is in a dangerous physical condition, it is better to risk it. I'm going to tell you, from my experiences, most families do object to that. They love the kid, you know what I'm saying, so much that it's kind of hard to say, all right, we're going to get them the next time they go out and blow all their money, you know what I'm saying, act stupid. I want to get him now. I can understand that. You know, that happens. You know, and that's okay. But with Erica, it really didn't kind of go off like that I know of. I did tell her mother about it, but her mother said, I don't care what she's doing, she coming to that luncheon at St. Jude. So I really don't know, you know what I'm trying to say, it was binge or not. But I was there when she at the luncheon. I thought she was going to come in there sober. I was wrong. Erica came in there lit up. I said, whoa, shit. So it said, don't deal with him if he's very drunk unless he's ugly and the family needs your help. Wait for the end of a spree, or at least for a lucid interval. A clear mind or sober. So the whole time, it's funny now though. I told y'all, laughter and healing. The whole time they had the day, every head was on tape. Alright, but then she kind of sobered up and her mother introduced me and told her about what I did, and I talked to her about 10 minutes, you know, told her about the step up and this and that. Alright, so that was the connection. Alright, so then we started talking on the phone, right, and texting, right, and I got her in touch with Willa, and she started talking to Willa, sparks, and you know, female with a female. Alright, so it says, then let his family or a friend ask him if he wants to quit for good, and if it will go to any extreme to do so. And if he says yes, then his attention should be drawn to you as a person who has recovered. And that's what her mother did. Right? Brought the attention to me, her to me. You should be described as one of a fellowship who, as part of their own recovery, try to help others who will be glad to talk And who would be glad to talk to him if he cares to see you? It's hard to tell a story and read this too, because this ain't the way I tell a story. You know what I'm saying? But she understood about the step up. I gave her my card. I told her about the program. Go on the internet, and she did all that information. All right, to the next one.
If he does not want to see you, never force yourself upon him. Neither should the family hysterically plead with him to do anything, nor should they tell him much about you. They should wait for the end of his next drinking bout. You might place this book where he can see it in the interval. Here's no specific rule can be given. The family must decide these things, but urge them not to be over anxious, but that might spoil matters.
Alright, and basically it said, if he does not want to see you, neither force yourself up on him. That's for anybody. If you're going to see somebody, you met them through your family and all this and all that, and they don't want to be bothered with you, fine. I had a lot of disappointing mothers. Me and the mothers would, talk on the phone and everything and communicate, and then when it come down to the child don't want to come. They'd be very disappointed. But I can't make them come. I tell them, and I said, you just wait. As long as I know, from my experience, they're gonna hit a rock bottom. Then they're gonna say, who that guy you were talking about? Right. If they live, it'll happen. All right, so don't worry. But you can't tell the parent don't worry, because you know they worry. All right. Neither should the family hysterically plead for you to do anything, nor should they tell him much about you. They should wait for the end of his next drinking bout. You might place this book where he can see it in the interval. Now let me tell you, this going away from Erica for a second, but I used to buy a lot of big books, man. And I would pass them out. Right? And then when I found out about them cheap ones, the used one. On the Amazon, instead of getting the new one, click over to the thing and get the dollar ones. Pass them out. And you can do that now. That's working with others. You can go on there and get you 10 books for $10, 99 cents each, pay $4 or $5 shipping. Somebody needs something, hand them a book. It's just that simple. Y'all doing it with the CDs now, the DVD, hand them some literature. That's working with others. That's helping. Alright. There is no specific rule can be given. Whatever it takes to get the information out, to get the message out, you can do it. Alright. Let me see something. That ain't gonna talk about that. The family must decide these things. Now don't take it. The family must decide these things, but urge them not to be over anxious, for that might spoil marriage. Now with Erica's situation, her mother wasn't really over anxious. I think, not to me, maybe to her. But to me, she wasn't, because I think this is the first time I did something with somebody I knew that they believed that I could do it. You know what I'm talking about? There was no doubt in her mind. For you guys around the stepper, Keith is working in the back. He got about what, 16, 17 years clean now. How I got the key was my mother. My mother knew Keith's mother. And Keith's mother told my mother, they were talking one day, that her son was an addict and he needed some help. My mother called me. My mother told Keith's mother about me. I went and met Keith, and we put him in treatment, St. Jude's, and he worked with me. Every job I done been on, he have followed me. Ain't been but 2. I know how to stay now, you know what I'm saying? Ain't like it used to be. So he been with me the whole time. And I 12-stepped him. 17 years. 12-step call. Did the same stuff with him. Alright? Y'all didn't know that, did you? Do the next one.
Usually the family should not try to tell your story. When possible, avoid meeting a man through his family. Approach through a doctor or an institution is a better bet. If your man needs hospitalization, he should have it, but not forcibly unless he is violent. Let the doctor, if you will, tell him he has something in the way of a solution.
Alright. That's exactly what happened here. Usually the family should not try to tell your story. You know, they might have a lot of information about you, read about you, you know what I'm trying to say, or spoke to you, know you, but they shouldn't try to tell your story. You know, what it used to be like, what it's like, and what happened. They shouldn't do that. That's your story, you tell it. Alright, because they can get it all messed up. When possible, avoid meeting a man through his family. Approach through a doctor or an institution is better. When I first met her, it was in St. Jude's environment. It was in St. Jude's environment. Alright? And there are no rules on this stuff, you know what I'm trying to say? But this is instructions on how to do a 12-step call. Approach through a doctor or an institution is better. If your man needs hospitalization, I always think that that's treatment, that's what they call it. Or hospitalization, detox, and then 30-day program, and treatment. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I believe in that. Alright? If your man needs hospitalization, he should have it, but not forcibly unless he is violent. Let the doctor, if he will, tell him he has something in the way of a solution. Now, I think that's beautiful. Here you got people going into hospitals, detoxing, and the doctor said, instead of them fixing us, they saying, hey, I know about this program that has a solution. To me, that's beautiful. Alright, do the next one.
When your man is better, the doctor might suggest a visit from you. Though you have talked with the family, leave them out of the first discussion. Under these conditions, your prospect will see he is under no pressure. He will feel he can deal with you without being nagged by his family. Calling him while he is still jittery. He may be receptive when he's depressed.
Alright. This right here, when it came to Erica's mother and Erica and I, we never discussed family. Not one time she just knew that I was in the Rotary Club with her mother, but never did we discuss her family and what was going on behind her back and her dad and all that. We never discussed none of that. Because the moment I did, that would have broke her confidence in me. In fact, she didn't even know none of this. How much? Almost 2 years now.
Right.
She would never do none of this even happening until tonight. This is the first time she's hearing it. Am I right?
Right.
She never knew. Now that's anonymity. Wasn't no ego in it for 2 years. She never even heard this herself. When your man is better, the doctor might suggest a visit from you. Though you have talked with the family, leave them out of the first discussion. Don't go in there and tell them about, let me tell you what your mom said, what your dad said. They don't want to hear that. They've been hearing that all their life. That's why they drinking. Under these conditions, your prospect will see is under no pressure. You know? They don't want to hear that. He will feel he can deal with you without being nagged by his family. That's important. Very important. Call on him while he is still jittery, while you still got them shakes. He may be more receptive when depressed. You know, when someone's in remorse, that's when you can really give them to hear this message. If they woke up and feeling good and ready to go get some more, you can forget it. But when they're depressed, lonely, in remorse, feeling like this small, the message is loud and clear. Do the next one.
See your man alone, if possible. At first engage in general conversation. After a while, turn to talk to some phase of drinking. Tell him enough about your drinking habits, symptoms, and experience to encourage him to speak of himself. If he wishes to talk, let him do so. You will thus get a better idea of how you ought to proceed. If he is not communicated, give him a sketch of your drinking career up to the time you quit, but say nothing for the moment of how that was accomplished. If he is in a serious mood, dwell on the troubles liquor has caused you, being careful not to moralize or lecture. If his mood is light, tell him humorous stories of your escapades. Get him to tell some of his.
That's what me and Erica started doing on the phone. Start talking about this. I already knew about her. I was telling about my education. I graduated from the University of Maryland. I was a military officer, and I was telling about me, and all of that put together couldn't stop me from drinking. I told about the money that I had, the $40,000 check, and I went out and geeked it all up. Educating didn't stop that one. In fact, it made me smarter to do it better. You know what I'm saying? I had some science. I done flipped some classes in science, so now I know how to smoke better. You know? So I told about the jobs and all that. So what I was doing was really telling her story through me. Because I learned this information from her mom and dad. That makes sense? So and then she said, oh, we got a connection. Then I invited her over to the step up. And when she got here, she didn't know. I had the tape recorder ready. I pulled out the disease of addiction and made her sit there for an hour and watch it. I went on about my business. She sat right up here and watched the illness, the mental obsession, you know what I'm saying? The phenomenal craving. She sat up here and watched it. Then right after that, she hit the door and they were with her. Everybody embraced her and kept going ever since. It says right here, see your man alone if possible. At first engage in general conversation. After a while, turn the talk to some phase of drinking. You got to do a drunk-a-law. You got to do that. Tell him enough about your drinking habits, symptoms, and experiences to encourage him to speak of himself. If he wishes to talk, let him do so. You will thus get a better idea how you ought to proceed. If he is not communicative, give him a sketch of your drinking career up to the time you quit. Talk about yourself. Right to the time you quit. But say nothing for the moment of how this was accomplished. If he is in a serious mood, dwell on the trouble alcohol has caused you, being careful not to moralize or lecture. If his mood is light, tell him humorous stories of your escapade. Get him to tell some of his. We're going to stop right there for tonight, because after we do this and you do your drunk-a-law and everything, you got a connection with the prospect or the person that's about to become a newcomer. Then you get all that out the way. Then you go into what we got to do. You don't want to go too fast, because it's already entering an unknown or unfamiliar territory. That makes sense? You got to guide someone in. You can't beat this down nobody. You know? And, you know, in early days, we had some guys that would beat you down with this thing, right? But then you get a bad report because someone wanted to beat you down. They turn around and relapse themselves. You know? And that, to me, that just showed a bad influence. And I was headed down that track till I started reading more. And then I kind of pulled up and started doing the textbook for you. All right, thank y'all for good meeting.